So we hear it a lot, guinea pigs are very social animals and they should only ever be kept in pairs or groups. But what is the evidence behind them needing companionship? Is it possible or even preferred for some piggies to live alone? And should we always be labelled as bad owners if we do have a single guinea pig? And what if, through no fault of our own, we find ourselves owning a single piggy, which inevitably can happen for us as piggy owners, and we need to be prepared for what to do in that situation. So this video will cover all of those questions, and Nacho here, who has been living on his own for 6 weeks down in the living room, yes, there's only one more week to go before he can be introduced to the girls. He is going to offer up some insights for this video, as I've never owned a single piggy before and I have learned a lot in these recent weeks. Let's start off by looking at why guinea pigs kept in pairs or groups are thought to be happier and healthier. And it might be an unlikely place to look, but I actually found a lot of information on this in the guidance for keeping guinea pigs as laboratory animals. Now, I don't agree at all with testing on animals, but it's one area where there are strict regulations in place, and real life studies have looked at the difference between keeping guinea pigs isolated versus keeping them with others. Regulations state that social housing is absolutely essential for the welfare of guinea pigs. Firstly, guinea pigs housed alone actually show more signs of stress than those kept in pairs or groups, with separation in particular often resulting in clear physical responses like losing weight and becoming more lethargic. It's thought that there is a strong feeling of safety in numbers from being in a herd, and lone guinea pigs simply don't benefit from that, and this affects them on a level which is hard to measure. And what I found really interesting was that the ability to see, hear and smell others reversed this effect, and piggies who lived alone but were at least aware of others nearby were no more stressed than piggies in social groups. Secondly, guidance states strongly that social interaction is the most important environmental enrichment for guinea pigs. Being with other guineas, or being able to see, hear and smell others, is more important than any other provisions in their enclosure, or indeed any company that we might try and offer them as compensation for being alone. Other reasons stem from real life experiences of owners, some of which you might be able to relate to. So in support of number 2, living alone can result in a lack of mental stimulation. Nothing happening in the cage can lead to some piggies becoming more skittish or bored, lazy and less interested in doing things and interacting with toys and other things in their cage. Some might also develop negative stress-related behaviours like biting the cage bars or self-barbering. And number 4 is that guinea pigs kept in groups teach each other behaviours, including eating a more varied diet and developing confidence around us humans. In turn, this means that we get to learn and experience these social behaviours and really appreciate a whole other side to owning guinea pigs. Taming in social situations is also reported to be easier, which is something I've definitely found myself. And the burning question is, have I seen any of these things in our Nacho? And the short answer is yes. During the day, Nacho is very lazy and quite inactive. He will barely come out of his hidey hole even to eat hay, which is why I've started putting a big pile of it right next to where he stays all day. And despite having the big expanded cage, he doesn't really use all of it as much as I had hoped he would. And in the evening, he still has his zoomies, he still loves coming out of the cage, which you've probably seen on recent videos. And a part of me thinks that's him getting rid of all of that pent up energy that he's got from doing nothing all day. So it will be really interesting to see how or if this pattern of behaviour changes once he's in with the girls. And in recent weeks, Nacho has started chewing the bars, which is commonly thought to be a sign of boredom. And as I mentioned in my previous video, he was chewing the bars when we did a kind of soft introduction between him and the girls, not only in his bonding pen out on the grass, but also when he got into his normal cage that evening, he was clearly kind of stressed and agitated, and he was chewing on the bars there as well. It felt to me like he was looking for the girls, bless him. And thinking about diet, Nacho is definitely picky over his veggies. At first it was just lettuce, lettuce, lettuce and nothing else. Now he's starting to try other things, but I'm confident it will change more when he's bonded with the girls and when he sees them enjoying a wider range of fresh food. Also, whilst Nacho is confident, he is easily spooked, and once he's been scared, he does take a lot of coaxing back to normal. So whilst Nacho does seem happy, I've owned guinea pigs for a long time. I feel like I've got added insight into them, and my feeling is that he does crave the company of others, and I'm also convinced that he will benefit from having some friends to live with. So I think there's clear reasons and evidence that guinea pigs do better in social situations, but there are some owners who claim that their single piggy is still happy regardless. And to this I'd say, how do you really know they are happy? Happiness is such a subjective thing, and how do we measure it? They might express excitement and popcorn and squeak for their veggies, but are they also living with higher levels of underlying stress as a result of not living in a herd? And how will their behaviour change if they were to live with others? These are obviously really difficult questions to answer, but we have to go with the evidence and what seems right in this situation. Guinea pigs have evolved to be social animals just like us, and it remains hugely important for them even in a domesticated setting. So why do people end up with a single guinea pig? Well, the most common reason for new owners is only getting one piggy in the very beginning, most likely from a pet shop, who will sell single piggies to unknowing owners or not point out the many reasons why guinea pigs should live in social groups. The second, also very common reason is bereavement. So a single piggy, young or old, may be left on his or her own after their cage mate passes away. Thirdly, some piggies just fall out, usually males when they reach puberty, for example. One day it seems like they just don't like each other anymore and fights break out. In this case, they must be split up to avoid them hurting each other. And this is probably the worst one, because then you have two single piggies, so it's doubly hard to know what the best course of action is. And more rarely is that some piggies appear to be just incompatible with others. I have heard of people being told this by rescues, but I do doubt whether enough effort has really been put into bonding them with others. So regardless of how it happens, does owning a single guinea pig make you a bad owner? Well, it might be a bitter pill to swallow, but in some situations, like if you only get one guinea pig from the start and you're not prepared to change and improve, even after researching more about the care that they need, then yes, really you should be looking to get your existing guinea pig a new friend as soon as possible. So if that's you and you understand that, then don't feel guilty. We all make mistakes, but it's really important for you to know that new guinea pigs can be introduced to existing piggies. Same-sex pairs such as two girls or two boys generally work out well, and a rescue can help you find a good partner who is a good match personality-wise for your other piggy. We've got some zoomies going on behind me. On the other hand, pet shops aren't always the best place to buy from, as they can missex guinea pigs, but if it were me and there were no other options, then I would go to a pet shop for a young guinea pig. If on the other hand you have convinced yourself that you can only get one guinea pig, perhaps because of other things such as the cage size and maybe the amount of care you think they'll need and the time you have, then I've got to be honest with you, it doesn't sound like guinea pigs are the right pet for you, because really you should be putting their welfare first over other constraints that you might have. And if they don't suit you, then I would suggest looking at options for other pets that might fit you a bit better. And if you're a child and it's your parents that are saying one guinea pig is fine, then I really sympathise with you. It is so difficult in this situation because ultimately it's your parents' responsibility for the health and happiness of your guinea pig, not yours. But all you can do in this situation is just try and prove to them as much as possible that you're prepared to take on all of the care for your guinea pig and when you add a second guinea pig, and try to explain it to them, show show that you've done your research and stress it from the guinea pig's perspective, that it's better for them to have a friend rather than you just wanting another guinea pig, and hopefully you can get them to understand. Moving on to our next situation, and that's if you have a single piggy left after a bereavement. Now, things here aren't as clear cut. So firstly, you need to ask yourself whether you're capable or if you want to continue the piggy cycle. Because yes, it can just go on and on forever, and there reaches a point where some people need to make that decision that they don't want to own guinea pigs anymore, which is completely understandable. What you also need to consider is the age of your existing piggy and how well they are reacting to being alone. So if they're still young, anything younger than 3.5 or 4 years old, then you should really be looking to find them a friend. You could contact rescues for similar age piggies, or it might be best to take the decision to surrender them to a trusted rescue, or if you're lucky enough to have a friend who owns guinea pigs, rather than housing them alone, particularly if you think they are struggling without company. If they're older though, and they seem content without their partner, and you're in a position where you can spend lots of time and give them lots of love, then I think in this case you are justified in keeping them alone. Simply because the stress of them being rehomed, especially going through a rescue and being adopted, where they might struggle to find a new home, that stress is likely to affect them. And although yes, we cannot replace a piggy friend, you do know your guinea pig best at this point, and you can really spoil them and make sure that they live out the rest of their life in luxury. Okay, moving on to situation number 3, and this is where things get trickier, and it's when you have 2 single piggies after a falling out. So the likelihood is that they are relatively young males, and the best option if you want to continue owning them is to either try introductions again, but chances are it's not going to work. It might help if you do a cage upgrade and give them a lot more space, as sometimes that's why fights can break out. Or if that doesn't work, you can find a friend for them to live separately. So as I said, it's usually males in this situation, so one option could be to neuter both of them and get them both a girlfriend, or try bonding them both separately with a 3rd and a 4th male. So in this case, I think I'd be looking to find a rescue to help you find the most compatible companions for your boys, and if things don't work, that rescue are there for continued support. And of course, the other option is to surrender one of the original boys, which I'm sure you really don't want to do, but it might be the only choice you've got if you've not got enough room to house them separately. It's a tough decision, but you really do need to put their welfare first, and remember that it's better for them in the long run if they have company of their own. And what about if you have a piggy who is unsociable or hates others? So in the beginning, I would question this. Perhaps the rescue or the pet shop have only tried bonding him with a few other guinea pigs and things haven't worked, so they've just said he's got to live on his own forever, which isn't very fair, because often companions can be found even when a guinea pig has a personality that isn't necessarily as compatible with a lot of other guinea pigs. So in this case, I would be tempted to get in touch with a trusted guinea pig rescue and ask their advice. And again, it's usually males in this situation, so one option could be to neuter him and find him a female friend, which is usually a good pairing. So for example, I know Nacho was paired as a test with another male, but things didn't work out, and that hasn't stopped me from being fairly confident that the bonding will work out okay with these girls behind me. So guinea pigs are clearly very social animals, and we as owners should always recognise that and put their needs before our wants. So I hope this video has helped you think about what your options might be if you are ever faced with owning a single guinea pig, and if you're researching to get guinea pigs and become a guinea pig owner, then it's all very exciting, and this is one of the key things you need to remember. And as well as keeping them in pairs or groups, there's a lot of things to think about for you new owners. So I'll go ahead and pop this video here for you to watch next, which is my top 12 tips on owning guinea pigs. As always guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I know it's been a bit of a long and informative one, but let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.